Mr. Chairman, and I want to say that you are certainly downplaying your role in NASA, and the commitment that you have has been absolutely fabulous and important for our ability to pass an authorization bill, which a lot of people didn't think we could, and then further to help get the appropriations that would keep NASA in a place where it can really do the job that we're asking it to do, and which we basically agreed to do. So we're here to try to keep that momentum going in the right direction. I was out at Johnson. The Johnson Space Center has a wonderful program for Cub Scouts. It's not in NASA, but it's in the visitor center. And Cub Scouts come from all over Texas, and they have an overnight in the visitor center. And I was with a group of those Cub Scouts recently, and the question they asked me was, why has America given up on spaceflight? Now, that was in the last week. And of course, I said, we're not giving up on space flight. It is a very important move forward, but our shuttles were wearing out, so we are now rebuilding to go beyond where we have been before. But that's not out there in the public, and we need to do the things that assure our young people, who are the ones we want to entice into science and loving the exploration and knowing what it has done for our country, to stay with us and to understand this importance. So that brings me to the agreement that we finally got last year with this administration. And I want to say what we've agreed to. We've agreed to develop the heavy launch vehicle to carry the Orion crew exploration vehicle to destinations beyond low Earth orbit. We have agreed to bring to fruition the beginning of operational commercial cargo delivery flights to the International Space Station. We've agreed to support the development of commercial capabilities to launch crew to and from low Earth orbit, focusing initially on transporting crews for the International Space Station. And we've agreed to support the ongoing development of the James Webb Space Telescope to not only replace the amazing Hubble Space Telescope, but also to see even more detail further into the universe. So we've agreed to all those things. But Mr. Administrator, the actions don't seem to be following the words of the agreements. And that's why I'm glad that we are having this hearing and hoping that we can all have not only the words, but the actions that will take us in the direction that we've agreed we should go. It took a while to finally get the program offices open for Orion and the Space Launch System. And finally, I think late last year, we were able to come to an agreement that we would move forward on that. The fiscal year 2013 budget request was our opportunity to review the actions of the administration toward providing the funding needed to meet our agreed to activities. But reviewing that budget and the call that you made to me gives me great concern, and I have to question the degree of the commitment that we made, all of us together, to go forward for all of the things that we said were our priorities. So now we all understand that we have fiscal challenges, but I believe within the budget that we have, which, as the chairman has said, is basically pretty flat considering the rest of our budgets, knowing that exploration is not something that can be totally prescribed and adhered to, because things happen when you're breaking barriers and you're doing new things that you have to address. But I think we have the available funds. It's a matter of how we put those funds into the actual implementation. And I have questions about the amount requested and the procurement approach that is taking place for the commercial crew development. I remain concerned about the loss of critical workforce and skills that we must have to continue NASA's advances forward into the future. I want to hear what you have to say and hope we can get back on the same page where the budget meets the agreed to goals. I am very pleased that Dr. Hutchison is here because he is a scientist, and of course that is a very crucial part of the big picture that we need to develop. Dr. Sam Ting, who really started the whole focus on the spectrometer, and who, for a Nobel laureate, is a fighter at heart, I have to say, because he was told by a previous administrator that there wouldn't be the ability to take the spectrometer up, and that the payload would not be able to be done. But he fought, we fought with him, we supported Dr. Ting's request because we knew that that was a future that was vital for the space station. Dr. Ting made a speech to a scientific group in Texas in January. And the most graphic thing that he showed through a chart was some of the most visionary research that we have embarked on in America in the physics field. That's his Nobel laureate designation, was for physics. And he showed the things that we thought would come, the goals that we had for these visionary research projects. And he put down about 6 or 7. And then he put the results that we got, which were totally different from the goal and more important and better. And that's what he foresees for the cosmic rays that we are now getting hits on in the spectrometer. Because we've already had more hits of cosmic rays on that spectrometer than ever in the history of space exploration. And he believes that the goal is to find out what the dark matter is and how can we harness it for energy that may be used for a Mars settlement or maybe something that we could use on Earth, but you can only do it in space. So he said, here's our goal, but who knows what it will give us? Who knew when we went into space in the first place that we would capture the satellites and use it for national security purposes? Who knew that we would get Velcro? Who knew that we would get MRIs and the huge medical breakthroughs that we've had? So I am committed in my last year to assure that we go in the right direction, utilizing our resources wisely, and that's why I changed appropriations committees, because I so believe in NASA and its potential for our country. And I wanted to make sure that while I'm here, that we don't fudge on human space exploration, and we don't cut NASA to the quick, because that's where our corporate knowledge is. And I say corporate in the government sector, but that's where our expertise and our past experiences are that will take us to the future in the most efficient way. So I hope that we can work together to address the concerns that I have and get us on track. I am committed to commercial being a part of our future, but not at the expense of our vital NASA employee sector and the building of the next vehicle that's going to take us beyond where we are. We can't fudge on the future in that way. So I think you know how I feel, and I hope that we will be able to work together. I don't doubt your sincerity in shared goals, but what I'm very concerned about is the implementation that is reflected in the numbers of the budget that the President and the administration released just a couple of weeks ago, and its relationship to our shared goal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.